How do you go from chasing relevance to suddenly becoming the player everyone fears on clay? Because that's exactly what Marta Kostyuk just did. And trust me, this wasn't just another WTA title. This was a statement. And here's the crazy part. What she said after winning might be even more powerful than the victory itself. Because while everyone else is already looking ahead to Roland Garros Kostyuk, she stopped, she paused, and she delivered a message that felt raw, real, and honestly, a little dangerous for the rest of the tour. Let's break this down. The Madrid Open final wasn't supposed to feel this decisive. On paper, you had two completely different stories colliding. Marta Kostyuk, the fighter who's been grinding for years, slowly building her game piece by piece. And across the net, Mirra Andreeva, the teenage sensation, the future star, the player many believe is destined to dominate this sport. And yet, from the very first ball, something felt different. Kostyuk didn't walk onto that court like an underdog. She walked in like she belonged there, like she'd been waiting for this exact moment her entire career. And when the match started, it showed. She took the first set 6-3, not by overpowering Andreeva, but by outthinking her. That's what stood out to me. This wasn't just physical tennis, it was strategic, calculated, almost cold at times. Every rally had purpose. Every shot had intent. And Andreeva, she wasn't playing badly. That's the scary part. She was still hitting clean, still moving well, still showing flashes of that brilliance we've come to expect. But Kostyuk just didn't let her breathe. Now here's where things get interesting. The second set could have gone either way. This is where experience usually takes over, or nerves completely flip the match. And for a moment, you could feel that tension building. Andreeva started pushing harder, taking more risks, trying to force the match into chaos. But Kostyuk didn't panic. She stayed locked in, focused, almost emotionless on the outside. And when the opportunity came, she took it. 7-5, match over, title secured. But here's where the story actually begins. Because winning a title is one thing, but how a player reacts after winning, that tells you everything about where they are mentally. And Kostyuk's reaction was fascinating. Instead of immediately talking about what's next, instead of shifting focus to Roland Garros like most players do, she did something different. She said she was speechless. Now that might sound simple, but in tennis, players are trained to always look ahead, always talk about the next match, the next tournament, the next goal. But Kostyuk, she allowed herself to feel the moment. She talked about dreams coming true, about the journey, about the people who helped her get there. And that tells me something very important. This wasn't luck. This wasn't a random run. This was the result of something building for a long time. And if you've been watching her closely over the past few months, you already saw the signs. She didn't just win Madrid, she came into this tournament with confidence already flowing after lifting another trophy recently. That momentum, it's real. And when a player combines momentum with belief, that's when things start to get dangerous for everyone else. Now let's talk about the rankings for a second. Breaking into the top 15 for the first time is huge, but rankings don't always tell the full story. Because right now, Kostyuk isn't just a top 15 player, she's playing like someone who could go even further. And here's the curiosity gap I want you to think about. Is this the peak of her career, or is this just the beginning? Because if this is just the beginning, then the timing couldn't be more perfect. Clay season is heating up, and Roland Garros is right around the corner. Now here's where things get even more interesting. Kostyuk made it clear she's not thinking about Paris yet. And honestly, that might be the smartest thing she could have said. Because too many players win a big title and immediately start thinking about the next one. They lose the moment, they lose the energy that got them there in the first place. But Kostyuk is doing the opposite. She's soaking it in. And that tells me she understands something a lot of players don't. Confidence isn't just built through wins. It's built through fully experiencing those wins. Now let's switch over to the other side of the net for a second. Because we need to talk about Mirra Andreeva. Losing a final like that, it hurts. There's no way around it. Andreeva came into this match with expectations. Not just from fans, but from the entire tennis world. She's been labeled the future. The next big thing. The one who could dominate this era. And to be fair, she still might. But this match showed something important. She's still learning. Her message after the match was classy, thankful, respectful. But if you read between the lines, you can feel the disappointment. And it didn't end there, because she had another final to play, doubles, another chance at a title, another opportunity to turn the narrative around. And it didn't happen. Back-to-back losses. That's tough for anyone. But for a young player, that can hit even harder. Now, here's the key question.
Not my
How does
favorite
she
tournament
respond?
for sure.
Because this is where careers are
But
shaped.
thank
Not
you,
in
the
victories,
crowd.
but in moments like this. Does she use this as fuel? Or does it linger? If she learns from it, if she adapts, if she comes back stronger, then this
Never
loss
ever
could
thought
actually
I
be
would be
one of
able
the
to
most
lift the
important
title
moments
here.
of her career.
It
But
was
if it stays
not
in
my
her head,
favorite tournament.
that's where things can get complicated. And this is why I always say tennis is as much mental as it is physical. Now, bringing it back to Kostyuk, there's something
And
else we
last
need to talk
but not
about:
least,
the reactions from
glory
other
to God
players.
and
Because when your
glory to the
peers start
champion. So
noticing, that's when you know something real is happening. Messages started pouring in: support, respect, recognition. And that
so
matters. Because
thanks
players
for
know,
making this
they
tournament
see
very
things we don't
special.
always
Also,
see.
of course,
They feel the level,
thanks to Gar.
they understand how difficult it is to win at this stage. And when they acknowledge it, that's a different kind of validation. Now let's zoom out for a second.
I
What
think
does
I
this
was
result
like
actually mean for the
2-7 in
WTA
Madrid, so
Tour?
I
Because
never
this isn't
ever
just
thought
about
I
one
would
player winning a title. This is about the balance of power. For a while, the conversation has been dominated by a few names. But now, there's a shift happening.
thank you,
New
the
contenders are
crowd.
rising.
I
New
was
threats are
unbelievably
emerging,
sweet.
and
You
Kostyuk
were
just put
supporting me
herself
so
right in the
much.
middle of that conversation. Now, here's where I want to hear from you. Is Marta Kostyuk now a genuine Grand Slam contender after this Madrid
Of
run, or
course,
do you think this was a
thanks to
perfect storm
Garbini and
moment? Drop
Feliciano
your
for
thoughts in the
making this
comments
tournament
because this debate is just
very
getting
cozy.
started. And don't give me a safe answer. I want to know what you really think. Because I'll be honest with you. I didn't expect this level from her this
No
quickly.
matter
I knew
how
she had
hard it is,
potential. But
no matter
this,
how much
this
you love
feels
watching
different.
it, what you
This
do,
feels like a
and
breakthrough. And breakthroughs, they change everything. Now let's talk about what comes next. The clay season doesn't stop. Rome is coming, then
you
Strasbourg,
were supporting
then
me so
Rabat,
much
and finally
every
Roland
day.
Garros. Each
It
tournament
wouldn't be
brings new
possible without
challenges,
you.
new opponents, new pressure, and now Kostyuk won't be flying under the radar anymore. That's the biggest shift. Before Madrid, she was
Very,
dangerous, but not the
very
main
cozy
focus.
for players.
Now,
It's always
everyone
nice
is
to be
watching.
here and come back
Everyone
here
is
every
preparing
year.
for her. And that changes the dynamic completely. Because it's one thing to surprise people, it's another thing to handle expectations. So the real test starts now. Can she carry this momentum forward? Can she handle the pressure? Can
And
she prove that this
last but
wasn't just a moment, but a new standard? And that's why the next few weeks are going to be fascinating. Because we're about to find out who Marta Kostyuk really is as a top player. Now, before we wrap this up, there's one more angle we need to touch on: the emotional side of this story. Because tennis isn't played by robots, it's played by people. And moments like this, they matter. The message she posted, it wasn't polished, it wasn't calculated, it was real. And fans
be
connect with
here
that.
and come back
They
here every
feel
year.
that. And in a sport that can
Also,
sometimes feel
thank you
distant,
everyone who
moments
came
like
to
this bring everything closer. They remind us why we watch, why we care, why we get invested. Because behind every trophy, there's a story. And this one, it's just getting started. So keep your eyes on Marta Kostyuk. Because something tells me Madrid wasn't the end of her story. It was the beginning. And if that's true, the rest of the tour should be very, very worried. If you want real tennis stories told the right way, stay locked into Tennis IQ, where every match has meaning and every moment matters.